Hi everybody, welcome to Hive Reads and Happy New Year. So a new year is a great time to think about a different world or how to create a better world. Specifically one that might have advanced technologies or space travel, or to think about what if our society was improved in this way or that way. So books that do that very well, thinking about how our world could be different or better or in some way advanced, are science fiction books, sci-fi. So today I want to talk about some sci-fi. There's no way I could fit in one video all of the varieties and genres and subgenres of sci-fi, because there's a lot, right? You can go to the past and talk about what if we had this technology but in the past? What if something different happened in history and society evolved in a different way? There's sci-fi that's set in current contemporary times, and not much is different in those books, except maybe we have some sort of advanced technology that doesn't exist right now. Maybe it's regular normal life except cars fly, or except we no longer get sick. Things like that, where not much has changed, but one major thing that the book wants to explore. And then of course there's space travel and aliens and robots and just the most fantastic sci-fi you can think of that is really very foreign from what our lives are right now. So whether you are a sci-fi fan, maybe you're all about aliens and Star Wars and things like that. Hopefully we can find something new for you. But if you're also someone who doesn't read sci-fi or maybe isn't quite sure if you're into that, I'm hopeful that I can find a book here that isn't too scary and might be a little bit easier to ease yourself into the world of sci-fi, since there really is a lot there. So let's get started. I'm going to start with an alternate history, move my way to some more contemporary, kind of more soft or gentle sci-fi is what I would call them. And then I'm going to end with the robots and the aliens and all of that. So don't worry, we will get there. But let's talk about the books. We're going to start with our alternate history. This is Timekeeper by Tara Sim. And so in this novel, it is set in an alternate Victorian England where clocks don't just tell time, they regulate it. Danny is a clock mechanic, and therefore he's in charge of keeping time in time. Danny's father is trapped in a stopped town, a place where the clock tower was destroyed, so time literally stopped, and Danny believes he can fix time and save his father. Danny is also in love with the clock spirit, which is, of course, forbidden. So in this novel, we have the science fiction aspect of the clock mechanics and also the concept of time travel, sort of. But it's also historical. It has some historical accuracies as far as Victorian England goes. Obviously, the clock aspect makes it very different from actuality. And then there's also the romance plotline in there. So a little bit of a lot in this, but it is an example of a historical sci-fi. Another example would be if there was a novel where, say, space travel exists in the past. So it could be set in the 1950s and we have colonies on Mars. So that is what we say, or what we mean when we say historical sci-fi. Next, let's talk about contemporary sci-fi. So these novels are set in familiar worlds, but they may have a few technological advances. I would call these soft or quiet sci-fi novels. They usually focus more on the characters and the relationships. You might not notice some of the more sciencey aspects of them unless if you're looking. So first we have The Weight of the Stars. This is by K. Ancrum. And in this novel, Ryan wants to be an astronaut, but she isn't right for space travel. That is, she can't afford it. Alexandria wants to communicate with her mother, who is taking a one-way trip to the edge of the solar system. So her mother is an astronaut. The two girls do not get along until they find themselves together, waiting for messages from deep space. This is a little bit more of an unconventional narrative. It feels otherworldly, even though it's set on Earth. Obviously, we have, a lot of talk of space and things like that with the space travel aspect. But at its heart, this is a contemporary romance. Mind Games by Shana Silver is another contemporary sci-fi novel. Arden can hack into her father's memory invention and sell anyone memories that they would like to experience. For example, being homecoming queen or doing very well on a test. This makes her pretty popular at school. But then Arden realizes that her own memories have been hacked and deleted. She can't remember her crush, and he doesn't remember her either. Arden needs to stop the sabotage, but how can she if she keeps forgetting it? Or if someone keeps deleting it from her brain? So again, this is set in current day contemporary America. There's no aliens, there's no space, but we have this pretty cool, yet perhaps dangerous upgraded technology. Again, this is a science fiction that is at its heart a romance. And finally, I Hope You Get This Message by Farah Rishi. So in this book, we have 3 teens who are living out potentially their last week on Earth because aliens from the planet Alma have come and they're taking 1 week to decide if humanity deserves to continue. So in that 1 week, Jesse figures out a way to make some last-minute cash by communicating with the residents of Alma. Basically, he's just scamming people for their money, saying he is communicating with the aliens. Kate sets out to find her father, who abandoned her and her mother years ago. And Adim is following a mysterious ham radio message that he got from his estranged sister. And the message originated in Roswell, New Mexico. So these 3 teens, their journeys throughout their potential last week on Earth overlap and mix in. Also, you get to hear a little bit from the alien side of things as the clock winds down. So this novel, again, is set in contemporary, current-day America, but has aliens. So that's where we get our science-y portion of it. Finally, I want to talk about some science fiction novels set in the future, both the near future and the far future. So in thinking about the future, it might be amazing, it might be devastating, it might not even be on Earth. The books that I'm going to talk about explore other planets and other peoples, and specifically what might happen if humans don't change their practices on Earth, or what happens if we do change radically. What kind of worlds might we explore and discover and create? So first, I want to talk about the Marrow Thieves. This is a book by a Canadian author, Cherie, Dimaline. And in this book, climate crisis has destroyed Earth, and non-Indigenous peoples of North America can no longer dream. Our main character is Frenchie. He is a Métis teen who's on the run from recruiters who want to steal his marrow, which will kill him, so that they can regain the ability to dream. Frenchie survives by banding together with other native peoples from various nations, and they form a sort of family group. This group protects each other from the cruel scientists and from the unforgiving landscapes due to the climate change. So there's a lot of science going on here. We've got the manipulation of bone marrow DNA, and it's also set in a future world. But this is a book that is ultimately about resilience and potential loss of culture and I guess the power of protecting various cultures. Want by Cindy Pond is set in a future Taipei, where polluted air will kill you. So only the ultra-rich can afford survival with a specialized suit and helmet. Jason is convinced that the CEO of the company that created the suit also creates the pollution. So he goes undercover as a rich American, dating the CEO's daughter for intel on these evil plans. So this is sci-fi plus some romance with very futuristic tech and a dying Earth. So still set on Earth, but with this specialized technology that does not currently exist. And finally, we have The Pioneer by Bridget Tyler. In this novel, Jo is training to be a cadet pilot for the International Space Agency. Her mother is pilot commander for the Galactic Frontier Project, and their code of conduct states that their ship, the Pioneer, will only travel to and colonize uninhabited planets. They can colonize any planet where there is not intelligent life already there. And Tau is a planet that has been discovered, and it is uninhabited, plus miraculously Earth-like. So this is important because Earth is dying. This is a theme in many futuristic sci-fi novels. The only problem is that Jo's mother lied. Tau is actually home to its own plants, animals, and intelligent species. They aren't happy about being invaded by humans, and Jo is now questioning her own family's philosophies and actions. So there's a lot to think about and to work through here. Obviously we've done a lot of colonizing on our own Earth, and now we're thinking about what does it mean to colonize in space. But Pioneer is a fast-paced, action-packed sci-fi story about space travel and what it really means to be an alien. Okay, thank you for joining me as I talked through some of these books. There are, of course, so many more options. No matter how familiar or alien you want your sci-fi to be. Remember, you can always ask us in the library takeout form if you are interested in sci-fi, and you can let us know, this is my first time reading sci-fi, or I've read it all, find something new for me. You can also search on the catalog. If you search sci-fi teen, there's a list of some sci-fi reads that we recommend. Some of these are included in that. But no matter what your preference is, I hope you find something that is fun and hopefully set in a different world. It's always fun to escape a little bit with sci-fi. So thank you for joining me. Happy reading, and we will see you next time. Bye.